Death Star, man. Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
Well, the Obi-Wan Kenobi premiere is finally here, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey, Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. There's a lot of Star Wars.
Yes.
Like, a lot of Star Wars. Like, when we were prepping for this, I'm like looking at all the celebration stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that's going to have to wait.
Yeah. I mean, when you have something as big as Obi-Wan, I think we just got to focus on that and then come back to the other stuff for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, with Celebration, there's tons of reveals,
mm-hmm.
and there's leaks.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that'll be a whole nother episode. I think next episode is going to be all about the Celebration coverage. But right now, Obi-Wan Kenobi, that's our focus.
Yeah. So,
up front, if you haven't watched it yet, we are looking at, what are they calling them here? Part 1 and Part 2.
Right.
Of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, if you haven't watched it yet, spoilers are coming.
Yes. Yeah, we're not holding any punches here. That's for sure.
No. This is not spoiler free. You've been warned. If you listen beyond this, don't complain.
Right.
All right. Well, that being said, I mean, should I go ahead and do the annoying overall? What you think?
Sure.
All right. Well, what you think? I mean, it was a long time coming. We've been talking about it for a while now.
Right.
Did it live up?
Well, so in answering that question, what do you think? I will say this. There's a couple things. What we've been saying the whole time leading up to this is, oh my God, I can't wait. I hope they don't screw it up. Right.
Right.
And there's a couple things that are making me like, are they screwing this up? So I'm just not sure. You know what I mean? And we'll get into those, but there's definitely stuff that they're doing right and some stuff that's making me question,
Yeah, there's definitely a couple head scratchers.
Right.
I'll definitely agree with that. As far as trajectory though, I don't feel like they're screwing it up.
Well, as far as trajectory goes, I'm definitely interested to see part 3.
Yep.
For sure. So,
I mean, this is setup time.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, we got 5 parts or 6 parts.
I thought it was 6.
So 5 or 6.
Right.
One of the two. So part 1 and part 2, you can't expect a whole lot reveal and like coming at you. Like, this is establishing where Obi-Wan is, his reluctance to do anything outside of what he's already mandated to do.
Yeah, I would say part 1 pretty much did that. Part 2 was the call to action, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and still, even though he got out and did something, it was still just setup. And you can tell it's just setup because, you get to the end and there's the other reveal, right? Like,
right.
So,
yeah, there's something bigger there.
Yeah. So, all right. So part 1.
Okay. Yep.
Part 1. Let's look at part 1 and kind of go over what we thought.
I have a question.
Yep.
Well, okay. Just how long does raw meat stay good under twin suns? I just don't get that.
I think it depends on the meat.
Okay.
Well, I'm assuming that's just a shift change.
Yeah, except where was the next shift coming in? Didn't see those guys.
True.
Yeah. Plus, he was like working on that same animal for 3 days for sure. It's a big
Man,
animal,
what-
but dang.
What is that?
I don't know. Land shark? Sand shark?
Like there were, I saw online people asking, is it a purgle?
Purgle? I don't know. It was enormous.
It was enormous,
Some sort of a sand stingray.
but they were definitely. You ask like how long does raw meat, like once you cut open a carcass, how long is the carcass good for? Like
Exactly. Under Twin Suns Desert. Yeah. That's what.
it's cooking. It's cooking.
Exactly. Not to mention Obi-Wan's like boosting a little meat for his Eope
Yeah.
every day. You think
Yeah, I kept waiting for the like, hey, what are you doing?
Exactly. So I will say it's interesting how he has suppressed his powers. Like he's just not even thinking about using them.
Not only suppressed his powers, but like you see him dealing with like situations like the other guy who only got half his pay, right?
Right. Oh yeah. He's just got to
You
let
see
that go.
he wants to do something, but he's pushing that down. Like, don't.
Exactly.
You have to stay hidden. So he's doing a better job with that, survival instinct.
Right. He has a singular mission, and that's watching over Luke. He honestly believes that, I think. And that's for as much as what happened seems to be bothering him, as Ewan McGregor would put it, when we see Obi-Wan, he's broken, right? Yeah. But he's still on mission. His confrontation with Owen, says one day the boy's going to have to be trained. So it's he hasn't forgotten that. I don't know. You get what I'm saying? He's like, he's not using any of his abilities. He's not using or practicing any Jedi anything. Yet he's still, when the day comes that he's going to train Luke, what then? He's got to just turn it all on at that point. It's kind of crazy. Think about it.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Like the turning it all on thing. Like we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you think about where he's at this point, and trying to lay low. I mean, you meet Reva in this episode. She's hell bent on finding Kenobi.
Right.
So that's Reva, Vader, Maul.
Yeah.
That are all hell bent on finding this guy right now.
Oh yeah. True.
Because at this point in the timeline, Maul's out there.
Yeah.
So he really has to keep a low profile because, yeah, it's not just, schmucks out there looking for him.
True. Yeah.
And from the way it sounds, by the interactions with these Inquisitors, for 10 years, it seems like Obi-Wan Kenobi was public enemy number 1.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess the interesting thing about that to me is that, you have Reva, and she's got her motivations. She's ambitious, and she thinks finding Kenobi will, I guess, promote her in some sort of way. But the Grand Inquisitor is like, hey, let's cool our heels on this Kenobi deal. It seems kind of weird. Someone in a leadership position like that, you would think, okay, you've got, Kenobi is somebody that we should always be focusing on, but in the meantime, we're going to take care of these other guys, He seems to be like, forget about Kenobi,
Well, I think he's just being practical at that point, right? Like, they've done a good job of getting the high-profile Jedi out of the way.
Yeah.
So the fact that Kenobi has remained hidden, you assume that either he's just disappeared. He's put himself so far out of the way that you're just not going to find him, or he's dead. So I think it's just practical, and he's even saying like, "Look, we gotta get information out of this guy,
Right.
because scraps is all we have."
Yeah.
And if they couldn't find Kenobi when they had ample Jedi that they were hunting down, well, scraps is all you got at this point. So every little bit counts. You can't just go cutting this guy down because you're wasting time. Try and get whatever you can out of him. I think he's got a very practical approach.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you might as well get what you can, because the boss is looking for results.
It's true.
And if you weren't able to find this guy in 10 years, dedicating all your focus to a guy you can't find probably isn't going to produce results. And that's going to get you dead.
Yeah, for sure.
And did I hear her right? When the fifth brother there pulled her aside, like asked her what you're looking to gain out of this. Did she say when I'm old?
What I'm owed.
Oh, what I'm owed. Okay.
Yes.
Like I went back a couple times. I will say I had a hard time discerning what was said right there.
Closed captioning.
I always do that, and I did not have it on this time.
Yeah.
And I find it funny that you're like, oh, closed captioning. When I said before that I was using closed captioning, you ripped me up, Doug.
Well, that was just between us, Joe. I do like to do it for these. Like, I will watch it through once without, and then go back and rewatch it with, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. That's more of a what would you call it, administrative thing for me.
Right. Oh, that's good.
So
I'm glad you did it this time.
So yeah, she does say what I'm owed, and so she feels like she belongs, I guess, in a higher position where she's at. And later on we'll see that that's not how she's thought of the rest of the Inquisitors, I guess.
No, I mean, even in this episode, her interaction with the fifth brother, like,
yeah,
she's not thought of as a higher up. She's thought of more as a liability.
Which, I will say, her actions are kind of rash,
Just a little.
I mean, dismembers somebody just for saying, hey, you don't have jurisdiction here. Oh, really?
Right.
She threatened to take out the
she's
Lars
definitely the
homestead.
bad cop.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely the bad cop. And what was like the interaction in the, they called it a saloon.
Yeah.
That threw me a little bit. But
so, yes, the Grand Inquisitor's going through this whole story, this whole diatribe about, what he figures happened, and he's probably, pretty right on. He's seen this, 100 times hunting down Jedi. But, third sister all of a sudden just gets bored. I know how to smoke him out here, and whips the knife at the saloon owner. So she was right,
Well, yeah, it worked.
Yeah,
it got results.
Exactly.
But if he wouldn't have been there.
Exactly. But that's the thing. She has no problem with just, civilians, whatever, I guess that's, that's part of she's all in on the brutalness of the Empire. Whereas the Grand Inquisitor seems to be okay with things taking a little longer, being a little more methodical.
And in all honesty, I don't feel like the Empire's policy is brutality. You know what I mean? I think brutality ends up being a means to an end, but I don't think it's the policy. She's right to that. I think she's an extremist even in the Empire respect.
Probably so, but we do get a little bit of this in small doses. I actually think it's in the next the part 2, but even walking down the street, they're just like, move, telling the people, get out of our way, kind of thing. That's it's not brutal to say move, but it's a show of force that would be indicative of the Empire, I imagine.
I agree, but like I said, I still would consider her on the extreme end of that.
Oh yeah.
Like, even though I would put her probably on the same level as some of the higher ups in the Empire, like a Tarkin.
Oh, as far as their brutality?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. Yes.
But I don't think that that's necessarily the marching orders. Now, it may be a good way to get elevated because you get results. Like, it's all about the result.
Right.
If that gets results, then that's going to be rewarded. I think and this is maybe going too far into that, but I think the Empire is just so big that little indiscretions, things like that, little incidents, aren't going to be looked at that way because they produce. So produce results. Hey, good to go. How you got there? Of little consequence.
Right.
And that's just out of pure size. Like, you ain't got time to like break down the nitty gritties of it, right?
Yeah. The Empire is definitely a large bureaucracy, that's for sure.
Yeah. Because even the Emperor, you see along the way, like there's always a like, hey, you can just submit and you're good. It's fine. It's not straight to brutality.
Right. True.
Not trying to justify the Empire's actions.
Yeah, exactly.
But just, I don't think that's because what good is having an empire if you don't have anyone left to rule over?
I guess. I've never had any desire to rule over anybody.
No, that's not what I mean. That's not how I'm putting it. But
I get it. I'm just, I can't put myself in those shoes, I guess, is what I'm saying. I don't know. I've never thought about it like that.
Like, the last thing the Empire is going to want to do is turn absolutely everyone against it because it's just brutal.
Right.
So I doubt that's the policy. But like I said, it's a big empire.
But if that's what it takes to get the job done, that's okay too.
Right. Exactly.
So, I don't know. What'd you make of, I think there's got to be more when it comes to Obi-Wan and Owen. Because I don't think we've seen enough yet. You know what I mean?
No, and actually, I'm honestly kind of disappointed that it's straight to tension.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I almost kind of was hoping to get insight into why there might be tension, why he would say the things he did. Instead, it's just right to tension. I'm like, okay, so yeah, they just don't like each other. That's the only conclusion I can draw.
Well, I could see where Owen's coming from a little bit.
I can too, but like
Like,
why did that jump happen?
I think there's been a lot of time that's passed, and Owen has had some time to kind of consider things, and he's taken everything from his point of view into account, even stuff that Obi-Wan really isn't even privy to, right? He's had, because Owen had the interactions with Anakin, right? Episode 2, episode 3, and they're like, this kid's crazy, you know?
Right.
So, and then I'm sure learns from Obi-Wan what happened, you know, on Mustafar and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, there's all of that. Like, my interactions with this Jedi half brother is like, stepbrother, whatever. It's like, I don't want that. I don't want that for Luke. I don't want that around my house, you know. So I can see where you come to that conclusion, you know. So it's like when Obi-Wan's telling him, hey, he's got to be trained, he's like, all my experience so far has been like, I don't think so, man. You know, haven't seen good stuff come from this Jedi thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Like,
so that I understand.
Seems like a quick way to get someone dead.
Right. And then, you know, what's the next thing you see? Lightsaber in the face. Okay. You know, yeah, proving my point. It's
which I will say. Lightsaber in the face, he just didn't go like, he's over there. Like literally
true.
right there. You see that like tunnel right there?
Yep.
Like you may have heard of him. Name's Kenobi.
Yeah. And I have got to say, in that respect, Owen is not telling the truth when Obi-Wan thanks him. When he comes up and says, you know, thank you for that. He says, I didn't do it for you. Bull. Because what that would do is eliminate all of the problems that he figures he's got in his mind, you know, as far as the family goes. Take care of Obi-Wan. He's gone. Doesn't have to worry about Luke being trained. And the Inquisitors would be off of Luke's scent.
But at the same time, would that make him free and clear?
Who? Luke?
Owen. Because, or would he be cut down just because he knew all along? Now, if you were just dealing with the Grand Inquisitor and the Fifth Brother, okay.
I got you.
But with Reva there, I'm not so sure he'd have been all right.
You're figuring he's seeing through this rage that Reva's got and calling this like a self-preservation moment.
Yes.
Okay. I could buy that.
I think he saw that as a self-preservation moment because knowing where the Jedi is probably just makes him an accessory and he's dead. Or it gets his family looked into.
Right.
Puts him on the radar, which is the last thing he needs.
Yeah, true. I do believe we've seen these instances where, you know, he even says, you know, you're just wondering if Luke's showing, which means, you know, if there was a bunch of Inquisitors coming to Lars homestead, you know, Luke might get a little antsy and all of a sudden, boom, force push, you know, then it's all over.
Yeah. They show up and then he goes all Rey.
Yeah. Exactly. It's one thing about the Skywalker kids. They like to run away and goof off.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Luke. Nope. Pod racing or whatever I'm doing here. And Leia's climbing
I will
trees.
say this. For as technologically advanced as they are in Star Wars, they don't have video games.
Yeah, I know.
Just imagination.
Yeah.
It's cool, but Kind of blown away by that.
Well, I mean, you got to figure Owen probably took it away. He wouldn't even let him have the toy ship.
Yeah, he does seem like the no fun uncle.
Exactly.
I will say, so one thing I got to say about Owen. Joel looks a little too good right here.
A little too good?
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's halfway between episode 3 and episode 4.
I thought he looked pretty good. I don't know.
Do you think he looked halfway there?
It's hard to say. In that respect, I don't think Obi-Wan does. Looks halfway there. Between episode 3, Ewan and Alec Guinness. So,
I guess you just chalk it up to the desert, right?
The desert, yes.
10 more years.
And yeah, once it starts on you, things go downhill fast. That's, I guess.
But like it hit Obi-Wan harder than it hit Owen, and Obi-Wan apparently didn't like hang around there the whole time.
Didn't hang around where?
The desert.
Where else was he?
I don't know, gallivanting around the galaxy apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, he's on Dio.
Oh, Dayu. Yeah, well, that's only because, he was asked. Forcefully. He's just trying to help out. One time. It's one time, Joe.
You think it's going to be one time?
I don't know.
You think he's going back to Tatooine?
Yeah. At least by episode 4.
He's got another 10 years to roll, man.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I think he's going back to Tatooine. I hope so.
But he can't meet Vader on Tatooine.
No. No, but what I'm saying is, I hope that by the end of this series, this limited series, we get to see him back on Tatooine. Because I'd like to have him hash things out with Owen a little more. But yes, in the meantime.
Oh, I think we'll finish on Tatooine, but I think from where he's at right now, for the rest of this series, he's not on Tatooine.
I have to agree there.
So, like, you're seeing him hash things out with Owen, I don't think you're going to see that.
When I say, I don't know, I think you almost have to. I think we're going to get to the, I think Owen's
I think you're definitely going to see why he accepts the toy.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yep. Owen cools down enough to let him give Luke the toy. That's what I think.
I did like that exchange with the Jawa, though.
Oh, yes. Thank you. We can't go on without saying that. That was excellent. Yes. I can smell you
if you're
from
going to steal
Anchorhead.
my parts, can you at least clean them?
Oh.
Cleaning costs extra.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It says it so matter of fact. It's amazing.
I did like the I could smell you all the way from Anchorhead.
Yeah. I should have brought some soap.
Yep.
This is a Jawa.
Yeah.
3PO. Filthy creatures. It's like,
yeah.
Complaining about Obi-Wan's smell. That's amazing.
And then at the very end, like reiterating, really do stink.
Yes. The only thing that would have been better there is if you'd have seen Bail Organa like make some weird faces. Oh,
right.
Man. Okay.
Damn, dude, you stink.
Right.
I came to talk about like what's that smell? Even though like could you really stink in the desert like that? Like with 2 suns? Like how well is bacteria really gonna do?
I have no idea.
I imagine not well.
Sure, but then again, you're sweating a lot, so who knows?
Yeah, but the smell still comes from bacteria,
right?
So you're kind of, and you're getting a sand bath the whole time. Just saying, doubt you could stink that bad. If they were in the jungle, oh yeah, that dude probably reeks.
Right.
He smells bad for what passes for on Tatooine.
Exactly.
Probably smells like desert fish.
Desert fish.
That's where it goes.
There it
Desert
is.
fish.
Yes.
And that meat did look appetizing, right? Like that it looked like sushi grade salmon
I
right
was
there.
gonna
Like,
say, yes, and giant pieces of it. It's like,
yeah.
dang.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was like, oh, that's some good sashimi right there.
Fresh. 4 days in the desert. Fresh. Yeah.
All right. Leia. What'd you think of Leia?
Well, I think the actress they have playing her is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. They couldn't have done better.
Exactly. Brilliant casting. I'm just laughing every time she makes these comments, these crass comments. I hearken back to the, will somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way? It's like, oh, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you came on that?
You're braver than I thought.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. So, in that regard, awesome. I'm wondering what they're doing overarching story-wise, though.
Yeah. I will say the one moment so far that really I was really cringing.
Yeah.
This chase scene through the forest.
Oh, yeah.
That was very bad.
It was.
Like,
yes.
Like, that would have been bad in 77.
Right.
Like, damn. I don't know if it's just if it was limited set space in order to stay in a shot, or just the actors that are doing the chasing are just not good.
Right.
Because, yeah, that was bad.
It was. And I know exactly what you're talking about, too. The failing character, just, yeah.
And I do got to ask, too, like, so we're doing rock stars now?
Well, yeah. We knew he was going to be on the show, though.
Did we?
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, but yes, we heard Flea was going to be on. Yes.
Okay. Because apparently I missed that. Or just failed to remember.
Gotcha.
Because he showed up, I was like, really? We're doing rock stars now?
Yes. Yes, we are. Now,
like, does Flea have a extensive acting career that I didn't know about?
oh, he's in Back to the Future. 2? 3. One of them. I mean, he has acted.
Okay.
Not, as far as I'm aware, not large roles, but he has acted.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I thought that was odd. I was like, wow.
I mean, for the role that he had here, I don't think he did bad,
No, he didn't do bad. Like, in all honesty, he didn't do bad. But it was like but he's one of those guys, like, you see his face, it's like, oh, wow, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Flea. That's for sure.
Flea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was that took me by surprise.
Aha.
But apparently that's because I didn't pay attention.
So, this. All right, I think we need to get into this now. This plan to kidnap Leia and draw out Obi-Wan Kenobi through the kidnapping of Princess Leia.
Okay.
How do we know? How would an Inquisitor know that would draw out Obi-Wan Kenobi? Simply from the friendship that Bail and Obi-Wan had in the past?
Okay, this is another moment, okay, where I got to complain about how Disney's handling Star Wars.
Okay.
Okay? I'm sorry, you don't have to use old quotes all the damn time.
Okay.
Like, Obi-Wan in the desert dealing with this other Jedi. Oh, I've heard the Jedi are all but extinct. Really?
Oh, gotcha.
And then you get to Reva. He served beside his or her father in the Clone Wars. What? How the hell? What?
Yes.
Why do we have to do this? And I'm gonna do a little bit of a tangent here. Like I just finished Brotherhood.
Okay.
Okay. And Brotherhood is full of this crap.
Gotcha.
It literally made the book somewhat unreadable for me.
So, is that bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm currently reading Fallen Star.
Uh-huh.
They're doing the same thing.
Really?
It's just constant at nauseum, just pulling back these old quotes and like just trying to play to nostalgia. And there's a fine line between nostalgia and nausea.
Right. So,
Okay? And it's getting to nauseating.
here's where I'm willing to forgive it. I'm willing to forgive it in the Obi-Wan dialogue. Because you can have one person kind of repeat a phrase. Because that's just how they speak. Now, when it's Reva almost stating the same thing that Leia did,
yeah,
that's a different story.
But like at the same time, Ewan's saying it and he's saying it verbatim to what Tarkin said.
Oh, yeah. Well, huh. For some reason, I was thinking it was Guinness. Okay, so, yeah, I guess.
Because it was Tarkin that said the Jedi are all but extinct. You are the last of their
religion. Yeah. Interesting.
Like they're picking these pieces of dialogue and having other characters regurgitate them, and I'm just like, no one talks like that. Like,
right.
These aren't phrases that seem like they would be
rolling off the tongue of everybody.
Rolling off the tongue.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Like, for example, in Falling Star, there's a character that says, I need to be focused on where I am, what I'm doing. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Probably heard that from Yoda, didn't he?
But they didn't say that.
Right.
Which is odd because they reference what Master Yoda would say all the time in that, but they didn't put it there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it bad. Okay. So I see your point. I will be honest. I did notice the Obi-Wan one. I did not notice the Reva one.
Yeah, it was when Flea was talking to her on the like I don't even know his character's name.
Right. Me neither.
But when Flea was talking to her on the hollow there,
yeah.
Are you sure he'll come? Well, he served beside her father in the Clone Wars. I was just like, that's two. Okay. That's two. We're in the first episode. That's two.
Right.
Like, no. Just no. We don't need to do this.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, you can get something every now and then. It's almost I have a bad feeling about this. When I heard that in the prequels, I was happy I heard that in the prequels.
That's different.
Why?
Why is that different?
Yeah.
Because it's something that someone might say. Like saying I've got a bad feeling about this is not a character line that like, okay, they said it. That makes sense. It rolls off the tongue. You're in a situation. It's like, I got a bad feeling about this. It's just one of those moments, right? So saying I got a bad feeling about this could be true. It's something that does roll off the tongue. Especially in a situation where you might not be feeling great about what's going on.
You have a point there.
But to like take lines verbatim from it, like if Obi-Wan would have just said, the Jedi are extinct. Like that was his line. The Jedi are extinct.
Right.
There are no Jedi. We're done. the order is like something like the order is finished. Like that would have been matter of fact. Like, but to say, I've heard the Jedi are all but extinct. Really, you're talking to Tarkin? Like, is Tarkin putting out news hollows?
Yeah, I was gonna say that is something, that if we'd have seen something like that and they used that turn of phrase, I would understand it then. Because people will repeat what they hear on TV, basically.
I just feel like everyone that's coming in and doing Star Wars right now is looking for I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, totally. I got
They're
you.
looking for their connection, let's say, and you know what? Honestly, I think it goes even deeper than that. I feel like everybody's coming in trying to prove how much they know Star Wars.
Right.
Like trying to prove them, it's like, see, I'm supposed to be here. I know Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I could go pick out a line and throw it in there. And
yeah. I think we hit this last episode, that's kind of like playground stuff, right?
Honestly, I think that was off mic. I think that was an off-air conversation.
Okay. Gotcha. So, that's something you would do on the playground.
Yeah.
When you're trying to one up your buddy about how much you know about Star Wars, because
I know Star Wars. I can quote this line.
Exactly.
I can quote that line.
That's that kind of thing.
Like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And like, I don't like it. We talked about the Rise of Skywalker and the things I didn't like in that. And it was all the things that just had to like connect it to the original trilogy. I'm like, look, we're supposed to be telling a new story. We don't have to just constantly try to connect everything. It can be connected because you're using blasters and lightsabers and the Force and like things like that. Those are your connecting points. You don't need to pull in all kinds of other stuff. Just tell a good story.
Exactly.
Stop it. When we say, I'll say this one last thing. When we say we want it to feel familiar, we don't mean it has to echo. You can make it feel familiar, like it looks a certain way, it feels a certain way, the story flows a certain way. You don't need dialogue from prior films to make it familiar.
I'm okay with an echo. Okay. I shouldn't say echo, I guess. Familiar, yes. What you don't want is a chorus, right?
Yes.
You don't want it to
exactly.
repeat.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Like a chorus of a song. Yeah.
It doesn't need to repeat.
That goes into the ring theory thing, though, which, we won't go down that road.
No. That's a whole nother thing. And I think this is beyond that. Like, this is not ring theory. Like,
agreed.
Using the same dialogue.
Yeah.
No. I think you can make new dialogue and we'll be fine.
Yes.
Like, it felt like Star Wars when he was interacting with the Jawa.
Totally.
You didn't need him to say,
that was
I've heard the Jedi are all but extinct. Really? That's your anchor? The stuff with the Jawa was great. I don't know why you had to go do that. Like,
yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Okay.
When I hear those, I groan at this point.
Gotcha.
It's mostly frequency. It's happening so much. And I know you've kind of disconnected from publishing right now.
Yeah.
And I think if you were in Star Wars publishing as deep as I am right now, you'd feel the same.
Gotcha.
Because they're doing it a lot.
It's saying something that about publishing if it's making it that hard for you to not hard, but it's ensuring that you're catching these things.
Oh yeah, I'll be blunt about it. Publishing's in a shit place right now. So
okay.
And it's not, and we got to get back to Obi-Wan here.
Yeah.
But I will say it's not because they're not putting forward good ideas, because I think everything that's been presented so far in publishing has been a good idea. And their object is it's good. Like, in concept, all these things are good. Their execution is just not good.
Wow.
Like even the High Republic, you talk to a lot of old Star Wars, it's got its merits. It really does. But the execution is lacking. And it's because of crap like this.
Gotcha.
And the funny thing is if you look at the High Republic, I shouldn't put it this way. If you look at the way the High Republic fan base talks about the High Republic, they're saying it doesn't have to be about the original trilogy all the time. Well, apparently it does, because you're echoing this crap all the time, and you're doing it in a way that just feels awkward.
Right.
And that's where you're losing me. It's like, really? Do you have to quote the movies? Like, literally verbatim? I don't think you do. Just tell the damn story.
Yeah.
You got all the pieces, right? You got the Jedi Order in the Old Republic. You're dealing with Coruscant and all these familiar worlds, and there's the Force, there's lightsabers, there's just tell your story.
Right.
We've got all the important stuff. But anyways, back to Kenobi. Sorry for the tangent, but I do feel like it was warranted, because here we are. We're only 2 episodes in, and we've got a couple where I'm like, ugh. So I think it's warranted.
Okay.
But yeah, back to Kenobi. We need to talk episode 2.
Yeah.
Where this heats up a little bit.
Yes.
So
no more Tatooine.
No more Tatooine. Well, wait. How did you feel about him going out to the actually, this rolls into episode 2. So I'll wait to talk about this moment until we get to another moment in episode 2. Okay. So episode 2, part 2, they're on was it Dayu or
Dayu? Yep.
Yep. So I think I said Dio earlier. So Dayu.
Dayu. Yeah.
Neat looking planet.
Sure.
They keep teasing me here, because this is another planet where I'm looking at it going, oh, this kind of looks like how they describe Hutta.
Oh, gotcha. I'm sure that some planets are bound to look the same.
I know.
Yeah.
But or Nar Shaddaa.
Nar Shaddaa, yeah.
I shouldn't say Hutta. This didn't echo Hutta, it echoed Nar Shaddaa.
Right.
Which it's supposed to be all lit up like
right.
Tokyo, right? Like,
yeah.
So we're here, and Obi-Wan's looking for Leia.
Yeah. What do you think of the Tim Morrison cameo, huh? What? Oh, just big sigh, huh?
Yeah, so why is a clone with the age acceleration look the same as Tim Morrison?
As Tim Morrison, what do you mean?
Now,
well, because Tim Morrison, the Boba Fett show takes place, 15 years after this? Something like that?
Yeah, but we are we're getting pretty close to the time where Rebels is going to be happening. And Rex and Gregor and all them they're white-haired, old guys.
Yeah.
So, he looked just a little young to me.
So he might be a younger clone. Rex.
Rex
would be an older clone.
Okay.
So, just to be fair.
No, I agree with you now. It's something that it was gut wrench for me. Gut wrench reaction was like, wow, he looks kind of young. So.
Gotcha. So
yeah, he could have been a fresher off the line.
Right. What I'm noticing though, and this I might be way off base on this, but I'm noticing the blue accents on the uniform, right? So immediately I'm thinking 501st.
First, yeah.
So number one, clearly Vader just, once it was time for the clones to be at the end of their usefulness, discard them. Two, now I'm going to go back to the other episode. The very beginning, the cold open on Coruscant. Did you notice all those clones having the blue accents on the uniforms? Which they did not have in episode 3. That was a little irritating for me. Anyway.
I did notice that.
Yeah.
But it did not click.
Right.
Yeah, they did not have that in episode 3.
Right. All those uniforms were white as the driven snow. None of the blue accents. So
I think that was just a decision after what they did in the Clone Wars to add that.
Okay.
So I think we'll see that in the episode 3 special edition.
I was just going to say that they need to pull a George Lucas and go back and fix it. Yes.
Which I'm fine with.
Yeah, I would be okay with that. It would make all this make sense. Yes, for sure.
Because the blue accents in the 501st was something that was lacking in episode 3 to begin with.
Yep.
You didn't see that.
Right.
And I think that was because Anakin wasn't fleshed out yet. So his exploits throughout the Clone Wars weren't realized.
Exactly.
Because really, I guess the only real accents you saw was on Kashyyyk. They had the camouflage like clones.
That and Cody's group with Obi-Wan.
And Cody's group with the yellow accents.
Yep.
So I think it just wasn't fleshed out yet. In hindsight, they're like, no, they should really have the blue accents. And I'm fine with that. That's fine.
Yeah. It's just one of those little details that I was like, huh, really? You hear it like this? Okay. But yeah. Yeah, so, okay. Beyond that. Appears that pretending you're a Jedi is lucrative.
Yeah.
What do you think of this Jedi charlatan?
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't like the character much.
Okay.
I felt like it was just a comic relief moment. But like not that funny. You know?
Okay, right.
But I get it. I get that someone might here's the reason I had a problem with it. Because he's exploiting people, but at the same time he's helping them.
Right.
So, which is it? Is he exploiting or is he actually helping? Like,
well, yeah. Everybody's got a good side and a bad side, right? Everyone's a little light, a little dark.
Yeah, but is it because he's profiting off it? Is that what makes him the bad guy?
Guess, yeah.
Like, I thought that was, I don't know, it was odd. I just thought the whole thing was odd.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, is he profiting off it? Sure, but like the method that he's using doesn't come without cost. It's not like he's sending him to a free ride. He's prearranging stuff. Like,
right.
So he's got an overhead.
Yeah, it's basically his gimmick.
Yeah.
So, and for people who just want to believe in something, yeah, it works for them. But Obi-Wan saw right through it, so I don't know. Clearly, I mean, again, that was just his perception, not any kind of Force abilities to see right through it. So,
right. Yeah, because we do find out in this episode that the Force abilities were not so easily called upon.
So that is true. But before we get that far,
Yeah.
I just think it's funny. Obi-Wan must have one of those faces where everyone wants to try and sell him drugs. I mean, yeah, there was death sticks,
Out spice.
out spice, bitter stem. I did like hearing that because that's an old EU reference. That was good.
Mhm.
And then, by happenstance, this kid can take you to the guy who's actually going to show you where you need to go to find the girl. Amazing, on this planet.
Right.
I guess he did track the ship in so far until he couldn't track it anymore. But, general area. I don't know. That was just weird. Just to blow up a drug lab. That was cool.
Mhm.
A lot of coincidental things that fell into place in order for him to find Leia. That's all.
Yeah. It was obvious brevity.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't understand why that guy. I'm with you there. I don't understand why that guy knew where Leia was.
Right.
Like, if it would have been a plant that was sending him there, that would have made more sense because there was this elaborate plan to draw out Kenobi.
Right.
So I think a plant guiding him into the trap would have made more sense.
Yes, it totally would have. And instead, we have what we were talking about a minute ago. This guy who's, who likes credits, but, and feels bad about it sometimes, but, still tries to help people. Kind of weird. So.
Yeah. Okay, so that is going to cause us to jump around again.
It's all right.
But that takes us again to this mind reading ability.
Oh. Yeah. Something. Oh, yes. It's funny. All the things that made Kylo Ren, really badass, apparently everyone can do. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought that was a little odd. Like, here we have Inquisitors who I kind of got the impression were
Force sensitive, but not all the way there.
Force sensitive and trained just enough to be able to take down a Jedi that has been hiding and is weakened.
Right.
I never got the impression that they were really good at the craft.
Exactly.
And to be able to read someone's mind sounds like something that Palpatine or Vader would have seen as a threat.
Yeah. A threat, maybe not to them, but to have that ability available to them could make them a more formidable enemy, eventually. I'm still stuck on this. There are certain things that we saw Kylo Ren do. Stop a blaster bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Look into Rey's mind. These were big deals back when we saw them. Apparently it's pretty pedestrian now. That bugs me a little bit. A Jedi's supposed to be able to feel kind of the emotion that someone else is conveying.
Yeah, not read their thoughts exactly.
Read their thoughts.
Well, I had a plan. I was sending them here.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh, they're going to the cargo ship yard. Oh, okay. Now I know where to go. It's like, wait a minute.
And, Kylo Ren had the benefit of being essentially a third generation Skywalker.
Absolutely. Essentially, yeah. Exactly that. Yeah.
Born from the chosen one.
Right.
So, yeah. I thought that was a little odd.
It was a little odd. That one bugged me, I gotta say. That one did bug me.
And, when Kylo Ren did it seemed like it hurt a lot more than that.
Yeah. He had to work it. He had to work it, and of course Rey was resisting, but
Well, he did it on Poe,
he did do it on Poe. Yeah, that's right.
and
Yeah.
Poe was like screaming, like,
Yes. Yeah. And this guy, it really didn't seem to faze him too much.
I kind of wonder now, is this something any Jedi could have done? Like any full-fledged Jedi?
I don't think
But
so.
like you had to have a certain set of, you had to have a certain immorality to do it.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a dark side thing. I don't know.
But I mean, if that's the case, if it's a dark side thing, and as long as you're over to the dark side, you can just read minds. I don't know why Vader came in with a interrogation droid with a syringe and truth serum in it to get information out of Leia. If he could have just like reached his hand out and said, "Yeah, you're going to tell me."
Right. Excellent point.
Like, I don't understand the frequency of this ability.
Yeah.
No.
That's the problem I have with,
When they come up with a new force power, they just go all in.
exactly. It's
like
timelines converging, right? Our timeline that we see this stuff in is crossing over with what we got to see in the stories. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah, because I mean, like stopping a blaster bolt, Kylo Ren did it, and then Padawan Cal Kestis could do it, like in Jedi Fallen Order. So
right,
like they find these new force abilities and they just go with it. It's like all in, like, hey, every Jedi can do this. Like, you're kind of screwing up the canon, like.
Right. It's funny because it takes those moments. That's one of those moments in the sequel trilogy when I was like, whoa, right? This guy is something. And it kind of waters that down. It
was kind of fabulous too, because Poe had the same shock as us.
Yeah.
Like he's walking by it and he's like, what the hell? And we were already like, what the hell?
Yes.
Like this is a thing now?
Exactly.
So, it kind of diminishes the moment.
Yep.
All right. So where are we headed? So they finally get their confrontation with Kenobi. And I say that with quotes, right? They never see him.
Who are you talking about?
Viva and the Grand Inquisitor.
Right.
Well, actually, I guess I'm skipping ahead a little bit. So him using the Force.
Yeah.
So Leia's falling.
Yeah.
He's now got to save her.
Right. So I did like the callback, right? Because she's just being, typical 10-year-old. Hey, if you're a Jedi, make me float. I want to float.
Right.
Yeah. So, as it turns out, he has to make her float.
Yeah, he can do it. And that is the moment where she's like, okay, yeah, you are actually a Jedi.
I guess you're a Jedi. Yep.
So, but it takes a moment. He's been suppressing this.
Yeah.
So the connection with the Force is not just a automatic. You can't turn it on and off.
Exactly.
And this has been alluded to in video games and things like that.
Right. It's something you need to practice, right? It's not just you got to stay up on your abilities.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite the struggle.
Right.
So that leads him, past that moment. They get to the, what was it? The cargo ships.
Yeah. Yep.
To get out of there and gets cornered.
Yep.
Now, I gotta ask, because Reva says, "I feel you." So, okay, this guy's been closed off to the Force. He
Right.
uses the Force one time, opens himself back up for a moment. Is he just open now?
You have to wonder, because, like, I don't know. He was basically in her presence before, and she didn't notice. Right?
Or
On Tatooine.
or is she just feeling that there's another living thing right there? Like, is it that basic? Is that the explanation?
Oh, it's got to be more than that. Yeah, it's got to be more than that.
So, okay, the floodgates are open for Obi-Wan.
I think so, yes, now. Which, it was funny, watching him fight prior to that moment, when he punches the dude and he's like, my hand hurts, right? Dude
Yeah.
punches him. That hurts. It's, those are things that a Jedi would probably not notice as much, with the Force active in him, so
Right.
I think this is meant to be the beginning of all this coming back for Obi-Wan. During this time, he's not going to be hiding. He's going to get this mission done. He's going to confront whoever he needs to confront, and then he's going to shut it off again.
Well, yeah, he definitely has to be open enough to deal with Maul.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Because his confrontation with Maul went pretty quick.
Yeah.
And it would not have gone pretty quick if he wasn't open to the Force. Unless he was just that good of a swordsman.
Yeah. I can't accept that one either.
Yeah, I mean, he's dealing with a open to the Force Darksider. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, not much more to say about that, I think, other than that's just the moment when he finally taps back into it, and we're going to get to see more of it in subsequent episodes until he turns it back off. So.
All right. So, I do want to kind of roll back a little bit here and just talk about a couple characters.
Okay.
We kind of glossed over them a little bit, and we talked about Leia and how much we liked the casting they did there.
Yeah.
Grand Inquisitor.
Okay.
How did you like the portrayal of this character, given that we spent so much time with him in Rebels?
I think he's all right. Yeah, I don't think we can expect it to be a one-for-one copy of what we saw in animation.
Right.
So, although I'll say they did pretty good with the Fifth Brother, right?
Fifth Brother was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was going to be my next one.
Yep. So, he seemed all right,
Okay, yeah, I was feeling the same. It was all right.
Yeah.
And
mainly because we haven't gotten to see him, like, where the Grand Inquisitor really shone in Rebels was when you had those moments where he's like face to face with Kanan, and
yeah. I don't know. I felt that some things were lacking for me. Like it just, he lacked some of the menace.
Right.
Even with his reprimand of Reva, like he just seemed a little too calm.
Yeah.
I felt like his reprimand should have had a little more malice to it. He was just, as the Grand Inquisitor in Rebels, it was not a good dude. You could tell he was not a good dude.
Right.
And in this, you kind of felt like he was just doing a job, and he's not so bad of a guy. I'm like, yeah, I don't buy that. Like,
exactly.
So, I felt like they could have done a little better there.
Well, if you were to ask the question, who's more evil, him or Riva.
Oh, Riva.
Absolutely.
Which is my next question. I know we talked a lot before we started about Riva, but we didn't really get into her character so much this episode. We kind of glossed over it a little bit. Riva, what you think?
So, I like her. I feel like I don't want to. This is not to take anything away from the actor, but I think the character is kind of like one-dimensional, a little bit.
A little bit,
and that's just to mean that there's not much nuance with her. Like she wants Kenobi, like you said. She's like the third major person that wants him now. So
right.
It's kind of like okay, I've heard some rumors that that the character might flip, right? And at this point, I don't necessarily want to see that happen because
I'll flat out say it. I don't want to see it happen at all.
Right. It's
I found her character somewhat refreshing.
Okay,
because she feels like a real villain. And I feel like that's something we've been lacking lately. Like, villains just seem to, like, be all right in the end. They weren't so bad.
Well, that's part of what we've seen in Star Wars,
Right. But there's always villains that aren't.
Yeah.
Right? Tarkin, you're never going to feel like that was a good guy.
Right.
So we got villains that were villains through and through. Palpatine. Never felt Palpatine was a good guy.
Right.
Okay, Vader flipped, but Vader started on the other side.
Right.
And when they did it with Kylo Ren, I'm like, I really just wanted him to be bad. Like,
yeah, well, absolutely. That's the thing. You've always got this character that's going to do that, right? You have Vader's the OG. Kylo did it. Agent Callus did it in Rebels.
right.
It's okay. I like your analogy here to Tarkin because I think both of these characters have the same depth of cold as ice villainy, right? She's just going to do it while screaming at you a little bit, and Tarkin's just going to be like, "You may fire when ready," So,
but at the same time, they're both whatever it takes to complete the mission.
yes,
It's not about is it right? Is it? It's whatever it takes.
yeah,
And I think, like, if I had to compare Riva to any villain in Star Wars, it's Tarkin. At this point, because
like
it's just you do what it takes to complete the mission, and whatever casualties along the way, whether it's people on your own side, because you see in Rogue One how he dealt with Krennic.
right.
Krennic was a casualty. Yeah, he was one of us, and he did great things, but oops.
Well, I think we are seeing things shape up here to we have conflict between the Grand Inquisitor and the third sister.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that's probably because she threw a lightsaber through his gut.
Well,
but
there is that, which, spoiler alert, he's got to survive because he's got to go into Rebels, right? So,
right.
Kind of crazy there, but
and his involvement will be even further than that, and we'll talk about that when we talk about Celebration.
Okay. But yeah, I feel like that's where their conflict is going to come into play. That's where things are going to go really wrong for Riva, in my opinion. Not necessarily, or it could be Vader. She might actually end up bringing Kenobi before Vader, and Vader might be like, good job, slice. You know,
Right.
It could be something like that. Which would I would love to see that out of Vader, because that's the Vader we need at this point in time.
Yeah, you need to. In this part of the timeline, you need to reestablish he's bad, right? Like,
Bad. Yes.
So, all right. So now that we've done that, like I said, I did find Reva really refreshing, and I like that we have what seems like a true villain.
Yeah.
I hope they don't screw that up. That's the point for me. Like, at this point, that's where it would screw it up. If they try to redeem her in some way, I'm like,
Right.
She's doing such a good job being bad. Like,
yeah. Okay, so
but we get the reveal. Obi-Wan did not know.
right.
10 years down the line, he does not know Vader is still alive.
Exactly.
That Anakin's still alive.
Right. Kind of crazy.
Kind of crazy. And then now, all of a sudden, his force ability can reach across the galaxy.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, it definitely felt that way. I mean, that's kind of what they were implying.
Yeah, it definitely felt that he called out to Anakin and Anakin responded.
Yes.
Felt that.
Yeah.
That being said, we already know that Anakin in the Bacta deprivation chamber, you know, he was using that to feel outward. So maybe Obi-Wan's reach wasn't that good, but Vader's is.
That could be.
Because we know that his time in either Bacta or his meditation chamber, things like that, he was reaching outward across the galaxy. So he was feeling what's going on.
Right.
So maybe Obi-Wan's he might only reach 30 feet, but Vader felt that.
Yeah, got it.
Which was kind of cool.
Yeah, it totally was.
That was a nice cliffhanger. I gotta give him credit where credit's due.
Oh, sure.
Because, you know, he goes, Anakin. And then it shows him there and his eyes pop open. I'm like, oh, shit! So, well done.
Yes. Yes.
Knew it was coming. Or at least something along those lines, right? Like, this interaction's coming. So, but it still felt good to be a little shocked by it.
Yeah, totally. So,
how did you think of Vader's look there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what do you mean? Just the look of him, or?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely went for, this is the thing out of a horror movie.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of what we saw in Rogue One.
Yeah.
So, you know, there was that. It reminded me of that.
But good moment for you?
Good moment? Yeah. I mean, intriguing for sure. I can't wait to see what happens. You know, I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, even with they've done a good job so far of closing out an episode with oh, I got to watch the next one.
Right.
Because even the first episode, even though they were releasing them both at the same time, you finish the first episode and he digs up the lightsabers, opens it up, you see the two lightsabers.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And you're like, oh, it's about to get real. I got to watch next week.
Right.
But it was next episode because, yeah. So, yeah, they're doing a good job with their cliffhangers. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like that.
So, yeah, I mean, so I guess with what we've discussed so far, I'd say overall casting's fantastic. They've done a good job with who they selected.
Right.
Execution of some scenes, expected a little more.
Yeah.
You know, that chase scene being the big standout, that was bad.
Right.
That was so bad. Kind kind of reminded me of like Creature from the Black Lagoon. Like, oh, you can't get through here, and they just kind of swing their arms a little bit, like, oh, that's a branch.
yeah, exactly. So overall, for me, I got to say the one thing that is a little bothersome, and they've got time to do something about it, with the episodes we have left. And, I don't think this is lost on anybody working on this, okay? But we are left at this point in a situation where this episode renders Leia's message to Obi-Wan in episode 4 out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because to think that a 10-year-old Leia is not going to remember this,
Exactly.
that's steep.
Yeah. General Kenobi, you fought with my father, and then goes, wait. How about General Kenobi? You saved my ass that one time, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Remember Dayu? Yeah.
Yeah, I need that again.
Yeah. So that is the one thing that, like I said, they have time to fix that. But it'll be interesting to see how.
Well, I think it's obvious.
What's that?
It's obvious that Force users can just mess with the brain.
Oh,
Obi-Wan's going to wipe her memory.
yeah. I don't know about that.
I don't know, man.
I mean,
Seems like a pretty easy ability.
a memory wipe or something happens and she can't remember any of it.
Oh, yeah, she's going to be concussed.
That'll be way too easy. I'm just,
I didn't even think of that. Like a concussion, that'll do it.
right.
But I agree. Too easy.
I don't know. That is the one thing that's bugging me right now. And let's be real. I think they know that's going to be bugging Star Wars fans right now. I think that was intentional. They're trolling us. They have a way that they're going to do something about this. I just hope it's good.
Well, let's just ask this question before we continue. Does she know his name is Obi-Wan Kenobi?
You have an excellent point. She knows him as Ben. Just Ben right now.
Just Ben.
But man.
I mean, you can make the case that, like, oh, it would hurt Leia what she's not smart enough. But if she just knows Ben,
Right.
at 10, it's not hard to believe that at 20, she's not going to make the connection between Ben and Obi-Wan.
Right.
So that could be the out. And honestly, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
But I mean, I honestly didn't pay attention to if he used the name Obi-Wan or if he just told her his name was Ben. I honestly didn't pay attention. But if that's the way they went, that's pretty solid. And yeah, she might not make that connection. Because Luke didn't make that connection.
The only thing,
I wonder if you mean Ben Kenobi.
yeah, is the only thing about that is that
It's Superman glasses.
she had that hollow up right in front of her. Had his picture.
But did she react on the picture?
I don't know. I mean,
Did she read it?
I would almost think you'd have to.
You would think.
Yeah. I don't
Just
know.
saying. It's an out.
It's an out, and they'll probably use it. It's definitely a.
It's more plausible than a mind wipe or a.
Yeah, I was hoping for something significant and oozing with good storytelling, to account for that. But
whoa, calm down.
Hey, I'm just saying, I feel like this whole rescue thing could have been done without her even ever knowing that a Jedi was involved, So
So it's too late for that.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just talking.
He did all the floaty fingers.
Right. Yeah, make me float.
Yeah. Something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, and like I said, I know that they are fully aware of everything we're talking about. They're just trolling us. Because there, I'm sure there's going to be people figuring all the same stuff that we're.
And he's going to be like, "That was a weird dream."
No, nothing like that.
Yeah, that's good. That's food for thought.
Yes.
Well, all right. If you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsofmore.com. That's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media, at The Wars of More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsofmore, at The Wars of More on Instagram. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsofmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We will talk next week.